Thank you, Judge. Michael, we have enough friends in common, Michael, that I know that you care about the environment, and I know you've cared for 40 years. That period of time you've been working with Jerry Brown to shut down nuclear power plants and get them replaced by fossil fuels. But I also think that you're in the grip of a fear that is not grounded in science. And I can understand the fear. I had it myself. When I was 12 years old, my sister told me that they had built a power plant on an earthquake fault in California, and it terrified me because I thought it could go off like an atomic bomb. I thought they were the same thing. And as I've been doing research on this topic, I realized that there was a deliberate effort to actually confuse those two things for people over a number of years. So for example, during the efforts by you and the governor in the 70s, when you stopped the Wasco plant, when you stopped the plant that was proposed at Sun Desert, those plants were explicitly replaced with fossil fuels. The governor advocated for a coal plant to be built. Now we're saying we're going to do with climate change, but since Governor Brown has come into office, we've been going backwards on emissions in the California power sector. They've gone up for the first time in 15 years. And so I think in your heart you want to do the right thing, but the way that you've been signaling to PG&E last December in the San Francisco Chronicle, or last November, that they should make the case that we don't need this source of power, PG&E actually did that. That's the argument that they made based on your comments. I mean, what's the point of, there's no need for ex parte when you can just communicate directly how you want PG&E to proceed. It's just not true, though. I mean, Diablo Canyon produces 14 times more power than Topaz, which is one of our biggest solar farms, a farm that you are very intimately familiar with. And that farm cannot provide power for our hospitals, for our schools, for our homes at night when the sun isn't shining. The science is really clear. If you just look at the last major study by Lancet, the British Medical Journal, they find that nuclear is the safest way to develop reliable power. And if you don't believe me, just look up Lancet energy mortality. It's just very clear. I wasn't really convinced until I personally went to Fukushima in 2014, a few weeks after I visited Diablo Canyon, and I interviewed some of the world's top inspectors who wrote the most critical things about Fukushima. I asked them about Diablo Canyon, and they said, that's a great plan. And I said, why do you say that? And they said, because the people there care. They're committed to that plant. It's gold-plated. It could run for another 50 years. It would be a tragedy, I think, for you, Michael, if you were to oversee this proceeding while you guys are under criminal investigation, while you're withholding 120 emails relating to the premature closure of San Onofre, and at a time when you've been trying to kill legislation, you've successfully killed legislation that would reform the CPUC. So I just ask you to look into your heart and think about what you think is the right thing to do when it comes to clean air, a clean environment, and making California a leader on clean energy. Thank you very much.
Followed by G. Nelson and Van Wilson.